What would you find if you dropped by this community church festival? You'd find a culture overflowing with passion and enthusiasm for all of life's flavors. This week, join us to meet the Greek Americans as we savor their delicious Mediterranean cuisine and revel in their arts and music. Coming up next on World in America. Known as the birthplace of modern democracy, political theory, and philosophy, ancient Greece contributed myriad new ideas to the world and laid the intellectual cornerstone for Western civilization. Greece's capital city, Athens, witnessed centuries of historical changes, from the Hellenic era to the Byzantine Empire, through Ottoman rule, and finally to Greece's declaration as an independent state in 1821. In the subsequent decades, political upheavals, economic hardships, and the promise of new opportunities spurred the first waves of immigration to the U.S. The Greek Americans quickly established themselves as part of a growing new America. There are large concentrations of Greek American communities in Midwest cities such as Chicago, Cleveland, and Detroit, as well as in New York City. Today, it's estimated that over 3 million American residents can claim Greek descent.
The Greek culture has been alive and vivid in the States for many years.
The Greek Americans are those people that have come here to take advantage of the opportunities that this country has offered.
They are cheerful, they are energetic, they love to enjoy themselves, they love to enjoy life.
The Greeks are passionate, they have an opinion about everything, and they pretend to be experts in everything.
So I think it's so great that we have such a taste of the whole world right here in this community.
What makes Greek Americans is their dual identity. The one identity that they are Greek, and the other identity they are at the same time Americans.
We really enjoy celebration. We enjoy having a good time, good food, good wine, people. I guess I would sum it up as just a zest for life.
As a culture, the Greek Americans are unabashedly passionate about, well, everything. And the old adage of the more the merrier always holds true at a Greek American festival. So come on in. Whoppa!
This is our 4th annual Greek Festival. It's a benefit for our parish, the Greek Orthodox Parish of Hunterdon County. All the proceeds will go into a parish building fund because we're working very hard towards building a church in this area of the state of New Jersey. The people are very warm, very hospitable. They take a deep sense of pride in their heritage and in their background, and they enjoy sharing that with others.
This is the best one. Make sure you take that one.
They love to share their foods and their culture. That's why having a festival is so wonderful for us, because we can share our background, a little bit about our foods and our culture, our dances and so forth with the community in general.
We enjoy Greek music, to sing together, to get together, and feast in the Greek way, which includes a lot of music.
first thing I like in Greek culture is the dancing.
So keeping those dances alive and teaching the children the dances of their heritage, that's very important, I think, to maintaining that identity.
The first large influx of Greek immigrants came to the States during the 1920s, and another wave fled Greece to escape the post-World War II economic depression. Upon their arrival, the Greeks quickly established themselves in businesses, the arts, and other entrepreneurial pursuits.
The Greek Americans always came to the U.S. Back in Colorado, back in the 1800s, there was a union disputes. At the time, Rockefeller owned that. A lot of those miners were Greeks, but the real migrations came in the early 1900s. You had a lot of migrations here from Greece. Then in the late 60s, mid to late 60s, you had another huge migration. I would think the biggest migration of Greeks was back in the 60s.
Greeks who came long time ago, they came under different circumstances, with different experiences, and you would find them different than our generation.
I think, the early Greek immigrants that came here, were trying to maintain their culture as much as possible while also acclimating to the American culture. In those days, it may have been that they would seek out Greek people to make sure that, they could continue their heritage and their celebrations and so forth. So a big part of that was always the church, that would bring people together, but also various social organizations and so forth that would bring people from different regions together.
People who came in the 70s, they are more Greeks, I would say, than people who came later, primarily because they didn't assimilate themselves in the American culture. They live in Astoria, they do business in Astoria, they don't go beyond the community. While younger people who went through college here, they have gone into mainstream culture.
Now we're very much dispersed. Our culture also has spread, if you will, in a certain extent, because we've also acclimated to the American culture. We have married people outside of our Greek ethnic background, so we've shared our culture with them. There's sort of like a blending, I guess, going on. It's more of a Greek American culture versus Greek culture.
My parents came here to give us a better life. The kids, we went to school, we became educated. My parents came from a very poverty-stricken village after the Second War. People were dying on the street from hunger, from poverty. They brought us here so that we can have a better life. They didn't speak English, but they made the best of it so that their kids could have these opportunities.
Greek Americans embrace others, but always hold their own close. The parents teach children to seize new opportunities, but also to stay true to their culture, respect their heritage, and above all, support each other.
Well, my parents told us, there were 5 of us, they told us that you're not going to speak any other language in this house except Greek, because they didn't want us to forget the language.
We're primarily concerned with teaching our kids certain customs and the history of the place where we came from.
So I had to communicate with my parents in Greek. and it was good because I remembered and I kept my language. Otherwise, you go to school, everything's English. You go to college, it's in English. You go to the outside world, it's in English. So because you're dealing with the outside world and everything's in English, the only Greek I had and the Greek training I had was at home.
This poem is named Tu Mikrovorιά, and it is by Elitis. And the music was by Theodoraki. Του μικρού βοριά παράγγειλα, να είναι καλό παιδάκι.
As a family, to preserve my culture, I speak Greek at home. I use my language and I try to use it not only for kitchen. I try to use it about all kinds of subjects.
It's important to know Greek because the English vocabulary, many words have Greek roots. So if we don't know Greek, then it would have been much harder for us to understand those words. Γεια σας αγκαγιές, γεια σας οι ακάβοι και οι ξανθοί γυαλί, γεια σας οι όρκοι παντοτινοί. I think it's important to study my culture because I could communicate with other people and my relatives, my grandmas that also speak Greek. They're not really good at English.
The fact that they understand two cultures very well, that helps them to apply their knowledge of difference in many other cultures that is not them.
I'm married to someone who's not Greek. My children go to after-school Greek school. They come to the church to learn Greek dancing, and that's a way that I feel that we're uniquely connected to the heritage.
The family remains a durable, unshakable unit, and modern American life needs to be balanced with traditional values.
We decided that I stay here and give all the support to our children that they need, and my husband goes to work.
The Greek family gets together, like we did as kids. They get together around the table, and then everybody sits down and they open up with a prayer, you know, God bless this food, and then they begin with them. And it's very polite. The father is the focal point of the table with the mother. She gets up, she serves everybody. That's the tradition. She serves everybody. The father sits there like the Vasilia, like the king.
In the old times it was. Now we know that mothers have equal place in family like fathers.
Kids are more individualized, and actually they know their rights more than kids growing up in Greece.
The freedoms that the kids have is a problem that a lot of these immigrant families face. I deal with immigrant parents all the time who complain about, you know, my kids are going to school and they're learning too many freedoms.
What I try to do in my family for my children, I want them to feel 100% Greeks, and I want them to feel 100% Americans.
We go every year back to Cyprus, and the kids get to know the culture.
I like going on trips to Cyprus because that's where my family is. When I go to Cyprus, I like visiting my cousins. We play a lot in the summer. I don't have a lot of homework.
What I like the most is the richness we find here for raising my children. They can be appreciated for what they learn or for what they do if they are doing it well.
100% Greek, 100% American. Add it all up, and you'll find that the Greek Americans give 200% to everything they do. When faced with a faster, hectic, and stressful American life, they're determined to rise to the competition and always strive to succeed. When we return, we'll hear how these Greek Americans have taken on new challenges and turned them into achievements. Next on World in America.
They're startled by the freedom that this country has.
For us, I think we also feel the pressure that we are in a different place. We are here, so we have to do well.
Welcome back to World in America. Life is a dance, and the Greek Americans know it well. Although it can be difficult to learn the new steps of life in America, this community enjoys the challenge.
The first difficulty is the language, so that's a limiting factor, and that was the difficulty I had myself. Once I learned English, and once I acclimated myself with American culture, then it was much easier for me, so I would imagine that's the same for everyone.
The language barrier is always the biggest problem that any immigrants face. They basically come to their community, like in this community, they came because there were a lot of Greek-speaking businesses, a lot of Greek-speaking people, so they could communicate in their own language.
For Greeks who came the time we came, and even before, the most important challenges, in my opinion, are two. One, of course, is not to alienate yourself, so you have to find connections and keep your own language, what makes you what you are. And the other important challenge what I found when I came here is that the society here is much more, it moves more faster, is more competitive, which we didn't have it in our country that time, since it was more agricultural economy.
Life is more hectic here, which reflects in the life of the family.
We have to achieve things, we have to succeed. That makes our lives more stressful, but also more enjoyable, I think, because we enjoy to do well, we enjoy what we learn.
You know, the distances you have to travel to do things are greater, so which puts more pressure on other things.
We didn't have to hurry, we didn't have to compete. I mean, it was good enough to go to school and just, and even if you don't go, just good enough to, you know.
But any immigrants coming in, they're startled by the freedom that this country has. They're amazed at it. You could go on television and call the President of the United States a liar, a hypocrite, a thief, and they applaud you. You don't dare do that in your country.
America offers economic opportunity. It's an efficient system, as opposed to Greece itself. You know, the state sector is minimal here. So if you want to conduct some business, usually you can get them done much faster than in Greece.
In my village in Greece, if your father's a fisherman, you're going to be a fisherman. If he's a tailor, you're going to be a tailor. If he's a farmer, you're going to be a farmer. I see it when I go back. But here, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could enter any career you like.
While pursuing their dreams in America, the Greek Americans always keep one eye on their past, and the Cultural Center provides a place to do that.
The Greek Cultural Center is one of the oldest foundations that preserve the Greek culture here in Astoria. It's been active for the past 35 years, and the current president is Mr. Beriales. And along with the board, they try to promote the culture itself through various performances and workshops and lessons.
The Greek Cultural Center, I think, does the most important job on cultural events.
I have to say that we have a theater which is based here in the Greek Cultural Center, and all the performances are in Greek, but we have recently added English supertitles for our English-speaking audience, which they love because now they can understand, they can follow the plot very, very well.
Having 4 productions of theater every year and many other things like a shadow theater for kids, dance groups.
The long, fertile history of ancient Greek theater infuses these modern performances.
When I think of Greek culture, the first thing that comes to my mind is theater, which incorporates acting, incorporates dance, incorporates singing, the way the ancient Greek theater was. So there you have 3 in 1, of course. The other thing would be food.
Greek food. It's one of the reasons the Greek Americans live so well. The food at this restaurant is no exception. Spanakopita, baklava, moussaka, grilled seafood, feta cheese, olive oil. You'll find them all here.
The name of the restaurant is Agnadi. We've been here in Astoria, Queens for about 7 years now. Agnadi in Greek means gazing into beautiful scenery. We try to be as authentic as possible, as regional as possible.
I think what's common among Greeks is the language, certain customs, and above all, the cuisine.
The main dishes that I think of in the Greek cuisine are, spanakopita, the filo with the cheese and the spinach, and then I think of the moussaka.
Greek cuisine is simple, relatively speaking. Fish, meat, broiled fish, moussaka, these kind of things.
The dishes that I like is moussaka, octopus, which is in Greek octapothi.
The octopus tentacles. It's on the grill, prepared on the grill with olive oil, vinegar, and oregano.
And of course, olive oil. What would food be like without olive oil?
We have the Greek salad. It has feta cheese, tomato, olives, olive oil from a region in Greece called Kalamata.
We have many, many great dishes that we have, and we love eating, and we love drinking, and we love to have a festive and great time.
We're beginning with the foods, in particular rich in calories. Baklava is one of our desserts, lots of butter and honey and phyllo, and it's sort of the play on the richness and also the different spices that are involved in the foods. I kind of think that all spills over into the culture in general.
Καλή σας όρεξη and enjoy your meal.
The Orthodox Christian Church anchors the Greek American community. The church welcomes everyone into its doors, but don't think you can go incognito. Even if you're only at church once a year for Easter, you'll never be anonymous. Everyone is treated like family and expected to join the celebrations.
The church is the focal point of the Greek community and of the Greek family. It's very traditional. It's kept the tradition of the Greeks going. We grew up in the Greek church.
The church is a very big part of the culture. Through the churches, there are Greek after-school language educational programs. So that's a big part of keeping the identity, also is keeping the language alive in America.
Big holiday is the Easter, which is around the corner. It's going to be this coming Sunday.
We keep the Easter tradition, no matter whether we are religious or not, because not every one of us is religious, and not every one of us use religious terms to raise their children. Still, every one of us goes to church on Easter.
Easter, which is on April 27, on Sunday this Sunday.
We crack our eggs, we paint our eggs, we feast.
We like painting, putting food color on the eggshells, designing them.
Well, the fact is that we keep our manners and our traditions here, at least the most important ones, but also we add American traditions, like we all celebrate Thanksgiving. It's important for us, and our kids love it.
With a zest for life, strong family connections, and unmatched enthusiasm for new experiences, the Greek American community is a great place to call home.
We are Greeks, we're Greek Americans, we're even Americans in itself. We have been assimilated to the American culture to a great extent.
We thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and to participate in this great country.
I'm proud to be Greek.